This is a meeting of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. It's our monthly meeting to deal with issues. So let's go straight to the issues. John, you're up. Since the number one issue for you, since the number one issue also deals with GPWA, we'll do them both at the same time. We'll give you and the attorney, who's going to speak, the attorneys or you folks?
I'd like to speak first.
For GPA, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, for consideration, GPA Resolution FY 2024-07. Just a quick overview, Mr. Chair. The CTP program was established by public law in 2006, about 20 years ago, to ensure that utilities had competitive wages in order to meet this critical mission of providing vital service to the community, including the military. In March 2007, the CCU resolved to gradually transition to the 50th percentile, subject to availability of funds. GPWA prepared a plan to achieve the goal. Because of variability of wages in the market, groups experienced many changes over the years, and GPA has failed to reach the goal to date, and in fact has regressed substantially, as noted in the 2022 market survey. What GPA had achieved implementing a 25 percentile of 2017 market survey only turned out to be more like 5% of the 2022 market survey, a huge setback in competitive wages. There is substantial competition for caliber employees experienced and trained in complicated technologies within the utility. Additionally, utilities have been the major training ground for technical expertise because of their technological nature in providing energy, water, and wastewater services to the community. About 5 years ago, about 60% of the GPA workforce were eligible to retire 5 to 10 years from then. Today, about 1/3, 33% of the workforce are eligible to retire within the next 5 years. GPA FTE has shrunk by about 100 employees, yet we continue to provide the services by training more and more employees and bringing in substantial technological improvements to improve service and lower costs. GPA continues to maintain its labor cost to a very small fraction of its total revenue, between 9.2% to 12.8% over the 8 fiscal years, include up into FY 2025 if approved. GPA has not had a base rate adjustment in over 10 years, and in fact brought solutions to substantially reduce ratepayers' costs when the Okudu power plant is commissioned in September of 2025. We no longer have competitive retirement plans and benefits which will keep employees whole through their careers. In contrast, the federal government benefits provides 12% COLA, 60% locality pay, 12% non-foreign pay differentials, and among others. No? So we ask that the CCU approve Resolution FY 2024-07 with an implementation date beginning the June 30, 2024 pay period. The resolution also provides that GPA and GPWA migrates an additional 5 percentile for each of the following fiscal years in order to achieve the 50th percentile by FY 2028, and wages adjusted accordingly to market surveys perhaps every 2 years. The CCU is authorized to make this important decision, and I urge you to take action today. GPA cannot succeed providing quality, reliable, affordable services on a sustained basis without a well-trained and well-paid workforce. And I ask the CCU to approve Resolution FY 2024-07 with an implementation date of the pay period beginning June 30, 2024. So that's my note, Mr. I know we've provided a lot of information through several work sessions, beginning as early as, I believe, February and stuff. So I know there was an issue about a ratepayer concern, of which I've seen the legal counsel's opinion saying that yes, we have complied. We have complied with the public laws that were noted as such. And with that, I'm here to answer any questions that the commissions may have.
Okay. I'd like to get GWA to also go ahead and do their thing so that as we discuss them, they're basically similar. Could you give a highlight of your presentation, Tom?
Yes, Chairman. At that time, Chris Badassi actually
Sure.
presented, so I'll yield to him again. Chris?
Okay.
Chris.
Test, test. Good evening, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. GWA has Resolution 7-FY 2024 relative to the adoption of the 2022 market update and strategic pay scale for the Guam Water Works Authority. This project is necessary and urgent for very similar reasons to GPA. Over the years, our salary structure has regressed to the 5th market percentile based on the 2022 market study performed by Alan Cyril and Associates. What we've been seeing over the last several years since 2020, when COVID hit, originally we went into cost containment and we had a hiring freeze. And through the next 18 months, we lost about 18 positions. And then since that time, we've had a really difficult time trying to bring those employees back, mainly because we're facing a lot of competition from the federal government and the federal contractors. During that time, our turnover ratio has slowly increased from 10% in 2021 all the way up to projected to be about 19% this year. So it's been going up every year since COVID has hit and the hiring freeze went into effect. We're asking that you approve this pay plan so we can try to not only retain our workers, but also increase our labor force, which we're desperately in need of. Over the last 3 fiscal years, we've lost 27% or 43 employees to the federal government and federal contractors. We've lost another 15% or 26 FTEs to the government of Guam. A smaller amount to relocating off island, which is also a concern as employees seek to continue to look for better wages and a lower cost of living. So we're seeing a lot of migration stateside as well. So this high turnover is causing a lot of overtime pay, and it's really counterproductive to what we're trying to do because we don't have the experience and the expertise in our workforce. We're continuing to churn employees and they're only here for a short period of time. So in order to try to improve that, we need to pass this pay plan. Like GPA, we're also anticipating going up to the 50th market percentile. We'll migrate to the 25th this year and then 5%, or we'll go to the 35th next year and then 5% thereafter until we hit 2028. Total cost for the migration is approximately $5.6 million of incremental cost. And we will implement in July of 2024 with the first migration and then follow thereafter.
Okay. Okay, now we can start with the questions. If anybody, I hope everybody's read kind of through the paperwork that was distributed last Monday. So Commissioner Sanchez.
I was just going to make the motion to adopt, but then just have legal just summarize for the record. Kind of.
Sure.
There was
Okay.
a concern raised by the ratepayer. Okay,
Yeah.
so at least we'll do. You want to do one at a time? Or you want to do both together since they're essentially the same? We can move.
Let's
I
do
can
both
make.
of them together.
Okay, so Mr. I move to adopt GPA resolution number 2024-07 and GWA resolution number 07 FY 2024 relative to the adoption of the 2022 market update and implementation plan presented by GWA GPA based on the Allen Searle survey.
Second? Okay. Now, any comments or discussions?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Legal Counsel.
can we have legal counsel just summarize
Sure.
the
Oh, sorry.
response
You're
to Mr. Carlson's request for
Okay, Teresa
clarification?
and Marianne, one of you both did the legal work, so don't be shy. One of you kind of,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, again, for the record, the CCU had received an email with a letter attached from, the email was from Mr. Mike Carlson, and the email was received in late April, and it was brought forward by the CCU at its April 29th regular meeting. And the attachment to the email from Mr. Carlson was a letter entitled Ratepayers Review and Comment to the Recent A0 Proposal to the CCU to Artificially Migrate GPA and GWA Staffing Patterns. And Mr. Carlson, just for the record, although he sent the email wasn't signed or endorsed by Mr. Carlson, so I just want to be sure that that's on the record. So, so it's clear that it may or may not have been from him. He could have been, just sending the message to the board. So, presently, after the adoption of Mr. Carlson's ratepayer review, I don't think has been read into the record publicly, and it's a little lengthy, but I mentioned during the last meeting that the board secretary confirmed that it will become an attachment A to the CCU's April 29th meeting minutes. So it's going to be available, if not already, for public view for anyone who would like to review all of the detail that Mr. Carlson has put forth. So essentially, in his review, he shares comments about, of course, the specific resolutions that are before the board tonight. And his issue is primarily focused on the board's adoption of a compensation plan that will affect certified technical and professional employees. And he takes issue with the fact that today, in 2024, all certified technical and professional employees of both utilities include all GPA and GWA employees. And his request to the board is to have the board consider reviewing the laws and ensuring adherence to the law to be sure that the board understands, one, its authority, and to ensure that the board understands what the adoption of the specific resolutions will affect. So simply put, Mr. Carlson, or his letter, is stating that if the board decides to adopt two resolutions by GPA and GWA, it will adopt a compensation plan and study and pay structure for all utility employees, which the utilities represent before the board are certified technical and professional positions. So in our memorandum that we've provided to the board, that we will attach to a letter that will be provided to Mr. Carlson, we state that the board and the management of GPA and GWA have absolutely respected the laws. We understand our limitations, and that is clear and evident in the many resolutions that have been passed since the public laws which gave GPA and GWA and the CCU this specific authority were enacted in law. So the specific laws were passed the specific laws at issue, which Mr. Carlson raised, were Public Law 28-113 and Public Law 28-159. Yeah, Public Law 28-159. Each of those pieces of law, each of those legislations were passed in 2006, and it did provide a limited authority to the board to adopt compensation for certified technical and professional employees. And we explained to the board that since 2006, it's been very clear in various resolutions that the CCU and the utilities have distinguished for a very long time between certified technical professionals and non-certified technical professionals. So from 2006 up through 2018, there really were two sets of employees. And what we relate to the board through this memo is what's essentially in the CCU's record already. That back in 2018, the last group of non-CTPs for both utilities was deleted from the CTP list, and a new set of positions was created by the utilities with the approval of the board. And essentially, that last batch of non-CTPs, which was deleted from the list, and the new addition of positions created what is now all certified technical and professional positions for both utilities. So to say that, you know, with broad strokes, the CCU and GPA and GWA have simply transferred kind of or adopted all non-CTPs is not correct. If you look at the 2018 resolutions, it's very clear what occurred. And the position descriptions of all those new positions is included within those resolutions. Those were all vetted. They went through the proper process of public notification, and by our review, it absolutely strictly adhered to the laws and what was required in order to adopt a position. And we put forward in our memo that Public Law 28-159 really enables and permits the GMs, with the approval of the board, to delete, add, or modify the CTP lists. And that's exactly what happened. CTP lists were deleted, and new CTP positions were added. And that is the certified technical and professional positions that we have today on record. And again, this is not our justification of what is before the board in 2024. We're reporting to the board that this occurred back in 2018. And so fast forward to 2024, we absolutely adhere to the specific technical requirements that created the last, I guess, the last few positions for both GPA and GWA, to have them become CTPs. And so the ratepayer will see in the various resolutions that we've cited really the lists that he's able to compare, CTPs and non-CTPs. We also raised to the board that nowhere in Mr. Carlson's ratepayer review did he actually challenge a specific position as being not certified, not technical, or non-professional. And that meant that his recommendations, they were bald. He asked for the CCU to return to the original list, but without a specific challenge to any specific position, you know, that recommendation is difficult to review and achieve without more. I mean, combined, the utilities have roughly under 800 employees. I think maybe just under 400 for GWA, and maybe a little above or below 400 for GPA. So there is no specific challenge to any specific position before the board this evening. There's no challenge saying that any position is not certified technical professional. The recommendation was just to return to earlier lists. And the lists, candidly, were lists that were included in a 2006 public law, which the public law permitted the board to confirm and modify and add or delete. And then the list also referenced again, the list Mr. Carlson also referenced went back to a 2018, or was it a 2008 resolution? I have it here, but again, the lists have changed. The utilities have evolved. The positions have been updated to reflect the requirements of utility employees. As the sole water, primary water and power utilities on island, we are deemed critical infrastructure, and there are many trainings in place to guard against cyber threats and physical threats to our critical assets. And these, the training that our utility employees undergo are absolutely specific to guard against threats to our system And I understand that, you know, even our training evolves annually. Our IT professionals monitor the types of threats we get, as employees are required to report specific threats through their emails and the systems to IT, and the trainings are also specific to, you know, any number of threats that we receive each year. I mean, and this is discussed, and we've discussed this, we've talked about, you know, the requirements for, I think it's, Commissioner Santos has mentioned it before, where we have to kind of have our dual identity access in order to access the computer. So these are changes, you know, with respect to the duties that are required of each utility employee. And specific again to GPA and GWA and our systems here to guard against our critical infrastructure. So that was to the first issue. The second issue that Mr. Carlson raised was to the issue regarding the internal equity versus external equity. Mr. Carlson's ratepayer review takes exception to the GPA and GWA's acceptance of recommendations from their consultant to apply a 20% internal equity versus an 80% external equity methodology to the review of compensation and pay structures for the CTP employees. So, of course, internal equity compares, you know, pay scales within similar positions internally within the utility. External equity compares pay scales to outside markets. And Mr. Carlson states that the use or the application, I guess, of an 80% external equity and 20% internal equity application in the compensation study is not tenable. And he says we really should have an equally balanced internal equity and external equity application, which is 50-50. That's his recommendation. And so we've attached in attachment D sections of Public Law 28-159, and I think it's at attachment D.
3.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Santos.
Just someone,
Yeah.
your HR people, it says here you're supposed to do internal equity review annually. Will you share that with us? What exactly is your internal equity policy? I mean, if you have it, right? If you don't have it, that's fine. I just, it's here in law, and I want to know, did you actually do it? Because it says it's annually done. Sure. And this applies for both GWA too, right? Okay.
So the most recent review of the internal equity, which discusses 12 different factors, and those 12 factors include education, a position's education, experience, complexity, scope of work, was recently done with the 2022 market study. We try and review it annually. However, we implement it when we, transition to the next, whether it be the range or the next market study.
Okay, and then the external one obviously is referring to Mr. Alan Searle.
That's correct.
Okay. Who checks his work?
As a compensation consultant,
Who's that?
We review his results, and if there's so we review his results and his recommendations, and if we have questions, he provides us the feedback with regard to our questions or whatever issues we have or unresolved clarification on certain things that he provides as part of his results, his overall results.
So when this study goes out, it goes out via RFP, and he's the only respondent? I mean, obviously, GovOne used AA or somebody else, I'm sorry, the last one was Edward Byrne, gave a 22% raise. I'm just curious, because we're obviously adopting a pay plan, so we really don't check his work externally. Just,
Well, externally, when he conducts the market review,
Right.
he bases his review on, in comparison to other like, or salaries with other like, utilities versus, in the Hay methodology, they use the national average, right? So for the positions, it's based on the respective salaries of the utilities. So his study of the market is based on apples to apples and orange to orange, where he does a comparison and provides us with recommendations of implementation ranges based on the market review of salaries. And he uses the AWWA compensation survey, the APPA compensation survey, U.S. Department of Labor, Bureau of Statistics, and there's other, again, the utility companies and U.S. Department of Labor.
I have a real quick question, but I want to crystallize the attorney's position. Everything we've done in the past and continue to do now, it still complies with the law. It gave us the authority to make these moves, and we are within the law still, according to your opinion.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's
Okay,
correct.
thank you. Is there Commissioner
I have
Sanchez?
one more.
Sure.
Can we go to page 119 of, I just want to understand, because it's a big, John B, you're asking for implementation in June, and the estimated cost is 2.5 million.
Yeah. It might be a little less now, right? Because that 2.9 was.
I'm sorry, I got it. Right? And you divide that by 427 positions? John Kim? What's? Because the following year it obviously drops, but I'm just curious as to,
What's your cost?
your estimated cost is 2.5 mil.
Those was estimated, right?
Yeah, probably in April. Probably in April. So, your specific question, sir?
Yeah, I mean, 2.5 mil, because you're asking to implement this month, I'm sorry, June's in 3 days or 4 days. And would that be the first pay period in June, or I'm just curious?
Yes, that's
So how many employees, this is gonna be 2.5 spread out over the entire?
You're looking at May
427.
through September.
Yeah.
This
Says
is
right
like
there.
May, June, July, August.
No,
It's
I
like
understand the
500.
spread, John B. I'm just curious, when you're allocating this to be every employee, right? Just so I understand that, because you're saying the average is 14 across.
It
Some
may-
are gonna get higher, some are gonna get lower, right?
It may not be every employee, no? Because again.
Yeah,
it depends-
based on your,
Based on
yeah.
everyone below the,
So if you look at that graph that you have,
30% will get bump up,
Right.
no? And then the following year, those now who didn't get a bump, most likely will start to get moving upwards.
so what do you anticipate the average salary increase to be?
Well, a simple way is just taking the,
Well, yeah, I kinda did that myself.
yeah.
It says in the notes section 427 FTEs.
Right. That's the current number of employees we have?
At the time of the, when we made the calculation.
FTE it's still around 427.
Okay.
28.
So 5,800 upper.
Average?
Yeah, 5,800
And with that,
annually, yeah.
Or I'm sorry, for the next 6 months, May through this fiscal year, right? It'll be spread out.
And so we're going from the 5th to the 30th market, from the 5th percentile to the 30th? That first bump?
Of the 22 market
2022
study.
market study.
Yeah.
And that will be the same for GWA, right? If you look at the same the same scale. Theirs was,
I think theirs was about 5 mil.
yeah, 342 employees.
But the implementation for GWA is
July
July?
pay periods, or, I'm sorry, July 1? July 1st.
Okay.
It's a timing difference. Is there any reason why, John B., you wanted to go 1 month early?
Beginning of the pay period, I believe.
We have 2 pay periods in June that we can look at, so we're looking at mid-June or late June.
Just the start of the pay period, so there's
That's it.
Commissioner Chaco?
Yeah, so, Teresa, just to confirm, so the delta of remaining employees that were not on CTP became part of the CTP designation because of their certification for cybersecurity and physical security certifications? Is that in essence what made all of the employees from this A and this B certified?
It really is. It really is position specific. All of the last group that was added, that the last set of new positions that were added definitely had to undergo new cybersecurity training and physical security training to defend against specific threats. But it really depended on the positions. It was specific to, I think, cashiers were included there. You'd have to look at the specific position descriptions, which was included in the resolutions. Like, for instance, cashiers had references to the CCMB system. And I'll just mention cashiers as an example. That position in itself has changed, and I know our cashiers, together with the accounting and finance department, no longer just accept cash and checks at the window. We have a paid GPWA app, we pay online, we pay by phone. So, the understanding of that new technology and being able to reconcile it are also additional, job requirements. And so it really is specific to the position, Commissioner, sorry. And there were for GPA, I think it was over 34 positions. So we'd have to look at each position description to distinctly understand what were the changes.
Commissioner Santos?
So I have one. So as I understand, our customer service representatives that can wear a GWA hat, flip it over and be the GPA customer service. Can anybody enlighten me on that? Anybody want to take a stab at that?
Commissioner Santos is asking about the
whole
the-
database thing that I've been chasing with you guys.
yeah.
That we have one system. Francis Santos is a customer for water, power, and sewer. When we
Yes,
open
sir.
up the page, are we seeing all 3 across the board?
Yes, any CSR, any utility customer service representative, customer care representative rather, can go into CC&B and see both the customer's water and power accounts if they have it, if they have both. We can do certain things within both systems, including add customer notes to the accounts, research, look back. There are some areas though that we do ask, we collaborate with each other on. For instance, bill printing might be a little bit different to reprint bills, but other things we can do that. Additionally, this body had approved a series of positions for utility customer care representatives. And so we have already gone through and assessed, using a third party, the skills of the existing customer care representatives. And we are working with HR now to open internally positions within so that we can fill those various levels of the series. And then both GPA and GWA, we're working on what the next steps are so that we can start integrating that outwardly, which includes being able to have, and Chris has some things. We'd like to present that when we're ready to present that, maybe next meeting.
How many people are we talking?
For
CSRs, or whatever you guys call them.
So we have our CSRs already, and it's a matter of
I mean,
filling.
this so-called migration. I mean, That's always been my thing. I really like to see that when the customer walks in, we can talk.
Both
almost
water and
split,
power,
right?
correct,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I'm just curious, are we talking 50 people, or are we talking, you know, at least that they're gonna get trained dual, and so if one person in GPA doesn't show up, somebody from GWA can step in and be Miss GPA for the day or Mr. GPA for the day.
Right, so the way, when this body approved the UCCR series, a Series 1 employee, customer service representative would learn for at least 1 year that utility inside and out. And after becoming a UCCR 2 and above, you would have progressive, you would be able to speak progressively for both utilities, and the skill level would go up. So we're not looking to add employees, we're looking to integrate and cross-train.
That's what we wanted. So, Commissioner Mtalco.
Yeah. Chris Budassi, you mentioned on your turnover rate that you're seeing and the inability to hire, you're seeing an increase in overtime. Has either utility quantified that overtime number?
Yes, I'm sure we have that information. I don't have it with me, but I can provide that to you.
Okay. Mr. Chair, just one other thing along the same lines is that in the audit committee that Commissioner Martinez and I work on, one of the things that we've been pursuing is time and attendance audits. And you know, when Chris is talking about overtime and we're considering moving to a higher pay scale, you know, what has come in those audit committee meetings is that we need better controls of time and attendance, and I would ask the commissioners to consider that if we do adopt this increase pay scale, that we also need to adopt an automated time and attendance control. It just has to happen. So please consider that as we make our decision.
I don't think we have a problem with that, because I think if we adopt the resolutions as written, I think we can make another motion to begin the time and that study and come up with an implementation schedule from both utilities and report back to us within 30 days. At least to start in like an implementation schedule. How's that?
Sounds good.
So let's do that. We'll make that a separate motion after we adopt the. Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody else? Any more further questions? No. Are we ready for the question? On the current motion to adopt both the GPA and GWA migration resolutions?
I think for the record, Commissioner Sanchez, you should cite GWA, so.
I did.
You did both?
Yeah, both of
GWA?
them, yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Roll call.
I'm sorry. Okay, roll call. Okay. Commissioner Sanchez. Commissioner Sanchez.
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Mtalco.
Aye.
I go aye. Commissioner.
Aye.
Okay. Unanimous. Now, somebody could make a motion to do the time and, please?
Sure, Mr. Chair. There's no motion to a resolution.
No resolution, but we can make a motion.
Sure. So a motion to have both utilities begin the process of implementing an automated time and attendance, both hardware and software, so that we can properly manage time and attendance, so that we can make sure that we have the proper controls to manage these higher pay scales.
Okay.
Okay, so just a quick point of order, just because, you know, we've published the agenda already. I don't know if this needs an emotion, like it's a resolution motion, right? We can always just tell management, next month, tell us about A, B, or C, right, whatever. So I think, I just want to be careful that,
It's not a published motion.
but we're making it a motion versus just informing, management's heard the discussion, and it's been very clear by,
Yes,
by
no,
the,
ladies and
can you add this motion to the agenda?
Otherwise, I'll call the.
Listen carefully to Commissioner Limtiaco's motion. The motion
Sure,
is.
the motion really just applies to specifically this pay scale in the sense of the controls that are warranted to make sure that we're properly tracking time and attendance to this pay scale. So the motion really is to require, recommend the utilities pursue an automated time and attendance
And
implementation.
to come back to the commission
With the timescale.
time implementation timeline, right?
Yes.
Okay?
I want to, let's be honest, you guys, we've talked about this. This is not something new, sitting with these 5 commissioners. I would like to add that the implementation date, Mr. Chairman and colleagues, is October 1. To have this new system put in place. This is not rocket science stuff.
Let's find out what it's gonna take.
Simon, okay, we
Well,
do that
just
one
the date,
down
just the
road.
date.
I'm giving you a date.
Well, I don't know if they can deliver, but
Let us come back with a recommendation at the next meeting, because again, it's not just, we'll have to beat out this stuff and although we have a lot of process, so.
Look, we just gave the ratepayers a bill for $7 million and another bill for $5 million. We're just asking one simple thing. Timekeeping is going to be the new norm in this 2 agencies.
And what we're saying is that we will come back to, in response to your request, we will come back with a plan to implement it, because, yeah.
Are you comfortable with the implementation date, Mr. Joby?
I am not comfortable with the implementation date, because I think it's gonna take more time to get the whole process, to get the software, the
Kicking it down the road.
Okay.
stuff, so.
That's been.
Otherwise, if it's an automated system, you need an automated system to make it happen. How else can we do that? The system we have today works on a regular basis, so unless we have to come up.
Is our system really?
No, I don't think our system.
Biometric, is it?
No, we're not there. So, but to go to there, we have to go down the road and get the bits and everything to get biometrics and everything. That will cost a fortune. We've been there way back
John,
in the.
John, we just.
I'm just trying to,
No,
that's
no,
not the
no.
same fortune
It
though.
is the same fortune.
It
It's
is
coming
not
out-
the same
What is your
fortune.
revenue source, John?
It is not
for
the
pay
same
basis, sir?
fortune.
What is the revenue source, sir?
The revenue source is the base rate plus other thing, but the
Right.
base rate is inclusive of everything else, so.
Okay.
So we
Okay,
make
no,
savings.
fine, no more comments.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just trying to
Okay.
explain, because you're giving us, you're
An
giving us an
ultimatum
ultimatum
to
to do something that I don't think we can do. First of all, because we are constrained. Let's talk about procurement.
Okay.
I have to go
John?
out and procure that. I can't just go out and get a software to
Okay,
make it happen.
John?
So let us
I-
come up with a plan and we'll be fine, because again, we,
Plan to be effective October 1.
a plan to be effective, well, okay, I mean, we can try. That's the best I can tell you. I can try. I'll bring it to you
I
and see
think-
what we have.
I think if I heard Commissioner Santos correctly, he wants a plan to be set out. Doesn't necessarily mean you're doing it on October 1,
Okay,
but
so
there
that's-
has to be a
So
plan.
that's my misunderstanding.
No.
Okay.
But there has to be a plan, and you can say, by October 1, we're putting out bids, or this is all our timeline, and we'll put it out.
He wants it
And-
implemented by October.
Huh?
No.
no, he wants it implemented.
I'm done.
But
I
I like
stated my
the,
decision.
I like the original, let's give management time. I think the intention is clear. I'm okay with the migration, but I want to give management enough time to explore, but come back to us by next meeting and say, this would be how we can implement this. Very clear opinion of the board is to begin to migrate to this much more precise, specific way of measuring time and attendance, right? And give management till next meeting to come back and say, this is what it's gonna take, this is the ETA, and then we can beat that up, right? But at least, I think it's pretty clear what the board is asking.
I would do
Is
that.
asking of both management teams. Make sure you communicate with Miguel.
Okay, so,
So I was comfortable with just having them report back to us.
okay,
in a month. Especially if we're in this vague, can you put this motion on? I mean, is it okay to make these motions if it's not on the agenda?
Okay, so it appears as if you're reframing it as a request. If that's the case, then of course it's
Yeah,
fine
you
to
can make
discuss.
requests, that's what I'm thinking.
But if it's,
Huh?
if you did want it to be an order of the CCU, we recommend that it be included within the relative and specific resolutions, I guess, which kind of raised the point. So we added as a new resolve to 07 FY 2024 and FY 2024 07.
Oh, we would have to amend.
If you want I mean, it would just be cleaner.
I mean, is it clear to management what the request of the board is? Is it within a month, come back to us and tell us how do we take the next step?
And you know, the motion was made to look into the time and attendance. And that's an opportunity, really. So it's not trying to put a timeline on that one, but I think the plan of presenting it to the commission, I think that we need to kind of set a plan and not just let it go. We're coming out with the budget soon. We got to put everything in perspective there. So I'd like to continue with Commissioner Limtiaco's recommendation and his motion. Putting it in a motion it's not hurting anybody.
You seconded the motion, right?
I did.
Okay.
And I second the motion.
So it's a motion made and seconded, just for clarity.
And that we allow now management, both management, from GP and Warm Water Works to put a plan together. And this is gonna be a challenge. So let's hear it, let's see what's coming down and take it from there. But
So I'm going to go back to the attorneys. So therefore, if we make the motion saying that we want them to come up with a plan by July, next July's meeting, okay? And that they report back to us by July's meeting with the plan, lay it all out. Well, how long it's gonna take to do bidding, whatever, and when we're going to finally implement this program, which has been the desire basically of the entire CCU. I gotta be honest with you, okay? I want this done too. So if that's the motion that you understand?
Yeah.
Okay?
Just need to clarify with legal
So
counsel.
if the board would like that to be a motion, our recommendation is to include it within a resolve within the specific GPA and GWA resolutions.
Okay,
which-
so, but
which have
we've
just
already adopted those resolutions. We've already adopted those resolutions.
I think it's clear, Mr. Chair, what the commission is wanting, so I'll withdraw the motion. But it's very clear as to what we need to report to on the next meeting.
Okay, so, John and Tom, you inform Miguel, but what we want is, at the July meeting, we want a plan. You lay it out, how long it's gonna take, what it's gonna take, and when it's going to be implemented, and then you have to stick to that, okay? Understand? You have to stick to it. We need to do this, okay? So that, I think the important part to Mr. Commissioner Santos and all of us is we want to get it done, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Understood.
So we'll do that. Now I have to apologize because I forgot to adopt the minutes of our April 24th meeting. So can I have a motion to adopt the minutes? Okay, second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay, motion carries. That's for April 24th. We are up to date with our minutes, by the way. You know, every month we're doing our minutes, so we're doing good. Sure.
the motion that.
It was withdrawn.
Okay.
But they hear us right now that we want a plan presented at the July meeting, okay? And now I have a second thing. Mr. Hitton is here, he's a member of the public, and he asked to address the commission. He was not here when we started the meeting, and he's a little late, but if I would like to give him just a little bit of time to address the meeting. Mr. Hitton, Frank Hitton.
Yes, I'd like to adjust this to the 5 members of the commissioners. My concern is this LEA Act, okay? How much are we getting charged for power? Who can answer that question?
We can tell you. John Kim?
How much is,
What is the current LEAC?
26.1995.
Per kilowatt hour? How much? 26.9 cents per
19.
kilowatt hour.
26.19.
26 cents. Okay, on the LEA Act, are we getting charged for the kilowatts
No, they get charged for the
or
oil.
consumption?
Your
It's
consumption.
Your
Okay,
consumption?
consumption is $2.61. Is it every
No, it's
show you on the bill.
26.1 cents per kilowatt hour for the fuel,
So-
and 13 cents a kilowatt
Okay,
hour
well,
for the non-fuel. That's
show
how you're
me-
being billed.
Show me I'm wrong in my bill. Please, because I've been trying to find this for a long time. 86 cents per kilowatt.
No, 26 cents a kilowatt hour for LEAC is the fuel,
And it's
and
right
13
here.
cents a kilowatt hour is for the
Okay.
non-fuel.
It's right here. It's, if you
No,
recall,
26
the-
cents
yeah,
a kilowatt
yeah,
hour.
Yeah, it's 26.2 times the number of
Of kilowatt
kilowatt hours.
Above the
above
500 kilowatt hours.
So the kilowatt hours on this particular bill that I'm reading at, and this is the line, fuel recovery charge, LEAC, is 2,620 kilowatt hours, 0.57 kilowatt.
What is that,
time.
261 for? You
That's-
multiply that times it, and it gives you the $100, the 4 times the amount that we're paying for.
No, that.
So
you
you,
better-
okay, at 26 cents, how did I get to $600 on the LEAC?
You must have used something
You
like
used-
2,500 kilowatt
You
hours.
use 2,600 kilowatt hours.
At times 26 cents is how
You
you get the
use 26
$500.
cents.
I don't believe so, because like I said, I studied this a long time and all that. At $2.61 a kilowatt hour.
No.
No, it's not $2.
26.1 cents a kilowatt
Every
hour.
15 minutes, I get charged $2.61.
No,
Every
that-
15 minutes.
No. It depends how many
It
kilowatt hours
depends
you're
on your
consuming.
consumption, sir.
Like at 1 in the morning,
So
you're not
how did I
consuming as
consume
much
that
as
if
that.
you say I use that much and my kilowatt hour is down? It's only $100 and something dollars, and my LEAC is 400 times more.
Because your
Because-
base rate is a different rate.
Right.
The base, if you're talking about the base rate, that's the 10
That's the
cents.
non-fuel
So
portion of
the-
you tell me how many gallons or how many grams of oil did I buy? Because if we're going on kilowatt hours, at that price, let's say $100 a barrel, and $800, okay? If I only use $150 worth, who gets the rest?
That's not the way it works.
So how did I
tell
get,
you what,
how did I
I
get
tell you what.
$800 every month for power bill?
Wait. I tell you what.
By
Here,
consuming,
Mr.
by consuming that much power.
Okay,
I consume-
at 26 cents?
Currently,
Per
For the LEAC.
kilowatt hour, for the LEAC.
plus
And
the,
then
plus the
13,
non-LEAC.
13 cents for your base rate.
Like I said, I did the math on there, like it's
Okay.
$2.61, because I got a thing at my house that monitors my own, and it tells me every 15 minutes, I get charged $2.61. So in an hour's time, that's almost
Not
$13,
by us.
almost $12 an hour.
Not by us, unless you're using a 100 kilowatt hours
So you
every
tell me
15
I got 2
minutes.
air conditioner and a refrigerator and a little freezer on my house. Back in 2018, my power bill was down and I was using more power than then. Now, I'm using a lot less power and
Because
it's a
the
lot
LEAC
higher.
Because the LEAC is
was-
higher.
Was lower then
And it's
higher now.
higher
So what is the
Mr.
LEAC? Tell me, what is
It's
it?
based on the cost of
It's
fuel
based
that
on
goes
the
up
Okay,
and
so
down.
how many gallons and how many grams of oil did I buy?
Okay,
So every year, we purchase somewhere around 270,000 barrels a year for everybody on Guam. For everybody on Guam, not just you, everybody. Okay, and we price that barrel into the kilowatt hours that each of
I
us
think
use.
you guys need to do some investigation on here because this is
okay.
not right.
No, we've been
Like
doing
I
this
said,
for a
I've been
long
in
time.
here.
This
At
is-
26 cents, like I said, on 86 cents, the way they explain it, they take that, you multiply that times this and that, and then that's how you get your kilowatts and how much they charge you.
So you get your bill.
Mr.
That is
Hinton,
correct.
Mr. Hinton,
Just one
this,
point.
this
Mr. Chair.
is,
Just his numbers, no? Every 15 minutes, there's 4 in an hour, times 24, no? So 4 times 24 times 30 days equals 2,880, 15 minutes, no?
Okay.
So you're
Therefore,
charging me by
that-
average?
Wait, stand by, please.
Hold on, he's trying to explain it to you. He's
Trying to explain
it
your
to you.
number. So times 2.61 is equal to $7,500. And that's not what you're paying. You're paying only 600.
yeah.
So it's not
Mr. Hinton-
261, eh? Just the numbers don't
26 cents.
Something ain't right here, like I said.
Your math is incorrect.
Yeah, you
Your
don't
math
understand
is
the
incorrect.
process.
He just explained to you that the math you told us,
Is wrong.
he calculated, your bill would be $7,000.
Like I said, I was doing this a lot more and all that, and it always comes up to the right amount. Like I said, if my power here is I cannot see that, $184, okay, by kilowatts. My
Your power or your
Via Act is
kilowatt?
$472. What power did I consume for 472 hours?
How many kilowatt hours did he consume?
Huh?
It'll say
in your bill.
The consumption is different from the consumption. How do you, okay, so how did you get the kilowatt hours? from the
You read your
consumption?
meter, you read your meter.
Huh?
You read your meter every month.
I understand that. The meter don't stop.
Right, so that's how we calculate your
Okay,
consumption
because
for the
even
month.
when I turn off some of the powers, that meter still rolls.
Well,
It doesn't stop.
I imagine your meter at 1 in the morning turns much slower than it does at 6 at night when you're asleep, right? So your consumption goes up and down.
Because I've done some math.
We'll be happy to sit down with
Yeah,
you and
yes.
explain the
I've been
bill.
trying to figure this out for the longest time. Like I said, when I come up with that consumption, like you said, LEA Act, what is a LEA Act? How many barrels
just
of
the
oil do they
rate.
buy?
It's
Every
a
month,
rate.
$600
That's just the
a
rate.
rate.
That's just the rate. That's like $5.50 a gallon when you drive into the gas station.
Oh,
The
but how
question
much
is,
is the actual power that we're paying for?
Okay.
well, it depends on
Ain't
how
it
much you,
86 cents?
it depends on how
Per
much
kilowatt?
For the base rate is
Okay,
13.
Mr. Hilton, we allow you to address
Okay, yeah, I
us,
understand.
but we're not going to be able to explain this to you sufficiently because because it's a lot more, you can't, your numbers are wrong, and in order to explain that to you, we need to
My
sit
numbers
down.
don't lie.
Okay, Mr.
They don't
Hilton,
lie.
our
Mr.
numbers
Hilton,
don't lie either.
our numbers don't lie
Our numbers
either.
don't lie
Our
either.
numbers don't lie either.
But you can manipulate them.
No,
we don't.
we don't
Okay.
manipulate.
We don't.
Okay.
So, Mr. Hilton, so if you want,
So what is-
we will schedule a time where you can come in and our finance people can explain
Okay,
it to you.
so
Mr. Hilton?
no, you're saying this consumption and this right here is what, you multiply that times 261, and you see what you get.
Mr. Hilton?
See if it's not close to the LEI.
Mr. Hinton, if you want, we'll try and schedule a time where you can
Because
come in.
Yeah, you misunderstand how it
Come in and
works.
sit down with our finance people.
Let our people sit with you.
Like I said, if every month I get $400, $600.
Every month, all of us get a power bill.
Not everybody.
Every one of us gets a power bill every month.
Not $600, I don't believe you.
Some of us get
Some
more than
more.
that. Some more.
Some more,
But
some-
Mr. Hinton,
it depends
if you
on how
want-
much you use.
Mr. Hinton.
So how much, like I said, if the consumption before was charging us by kilowatt hours.
It's all kilowatts.
It's always charged by kilowatt hours. Just like when you go to the gas station, you're always charged per
Okay, so
gallon.
why are you charging me for kilowatt hours plus the consumption?
No, your kilowatt
So
hours
my
is your
kilowatt
consumption.
It is your consumption.
It is your consumption.
Your
Kilowatt hours.
So you're double charging me.
No,
because
we're charging you for
Your consumption.
base rate and for the LEA. Mr. Hinton, here's what I can offer you. We'll try and schedule a time. John? Schedule,
Like I said-
we can schedule a time where you can sit down and.
But I need an answer because
Well-
I'm turning this into the Attorney General.
You're
He's aware
yes.
of it, like I said.
Oh, sure,
It is.
you can
Your
go
guess.
Like I
anywhere
said,
you
because
want.
it doesn't make
Mr. Hinton,
sense
you're,
for me to pay $800 a month for power.
And so much
When I
power.
was paying $300 way back in 2020.
because the price of the oil goes up and down. It was different
Just
in
like at the gas
2020,
station.
believe us. Okay, so Mr. Hinton, if you want, we can schedule a time where we'll try to explain that to you because we're going to take a
You're
little.
buying the fuel at a cheaper rate than what you're selling me to.
No,
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 that's
no,
not
no.
true
That's
either.
incorrect.
That's incorrect.
That's incorrect.
I believe it is, because like I said, there were
No,
plenty.
there's
Okay,
other people
so
that look at it.
Thank you very much. If you want, we will try and schedule a time.
Can I get an answer for this?
Yes.
Yes,
Like I
yes,
said, I-
but not right now.
No, right now. The next time you guys come in, I'll be in here.
No,
We're gonna have you meet with.
We're gonna have you meet with the staff so that they can
can
explain it to you.
Like I said.
We're not going to debate it at a meeting because we are trying to tell you that we can explain it to you with the staff.
We're following all the
We're following
rules
all
and
the rules.
requirements.
The PUC regulates
Yeah, we
us.
follow all of it.
We follow all the rules.
We need to
So-
maybe better
You're
explain
telling
it.
me, and
So-
the LEA Act on here is the consumption times that right there. What did we get 261 and 26 cents? 26.
It's the cost of the fuel right now.
That's the price that
Sometimes
was set by the
On
PUC.
the over 500, it's
Hinton?
only 86 cents.
Mr. Hinton, okay.
We can explain it to you.
Here's what we're gonna do. We can try and schedule a time when we can have the staff explain it to you,
So
okay?
what is the
And if
actual
you're
power
not
that we're
satisfied
paying?
with that, you know what you can do? You can
Your
go to the
kilowatt hour
PUC.
consumption.
Yeah, your consumption times the price
consumption.
of fuel and times the price of non-fuel. That's what you're charged for.
Okay.
Your consumption, how much power you use, there's a fuel portion, and there's a non-fuel portion. The fuel portion is
Paid for
oil.
both.
It goes up and down like at the gas station, no different, right? The non-fuel portion is for the non-fuel, labor, capital improvements.
Oh, so I gotta pay for all that?
Yes.
Everybody does.
Everybody
How else do you pay for the
Everybody
generator?
does.
How do you pay for the solar
Well,
farm?
what you trying to tell me, that I gotta pay all your bills and let my family suffer in the dinner table?
No,
No, we're not saying that.
We're saying all of us have to pay all our
No,
bills.
no, no,
All of us have to pay all
All
our
of
bills.
us have
No
to
one
pay
here
our
gets free,
bills.
no one gets free power.
No one gets free power.
All of us have to
You
pay.
do have to pay for what you use,
That's
though.
something needs to be investigated in this part, because like I said, how much are we paying for power? Is it $10 or $12 an hour?
You're paying
Yeah.
39 cents a kilowatt hour right now.
Yeah.
26 plus
Total.
13. Right now, that's what you're
Yeah.
paying.
Okay,
If
so-
you use 100 kilowatt hours, that's gonna be $390.
So,
Or $39 at 39 cents a kilowatt hour. But you probably use, I use 1,500 kilowatt hours a month, so my bills are like $400.
So how do we get the consumption in kilowatt hours?
The meter.
On your meter.
When you
The
turn
meter.
on your
It
power,
says
the
on your
meter
bill.
turns. It's on your
I
bill.
understand that, but that's not kilowatt hours.
That is
That's
kilowatt
what I-
hours.
I was
That is
talking
kilowatt
about Amperage or whatever.
No,
it is.
that is
no,
kilowatt
no,
hours.
Mr.
The
Hinton,
number of
we
hours,
will have
how
somebody-
many kilowatts
you
you
want,
got per hour.
Find the time, you can sit down with the staff, and they'll try and explain it to you. And if you're not satisfied with that, there is the Public Utilities Commission.
No, I-
They're the ones that set the rate.
Like I said,
So go talk to them if you don't believe us.
no, I did, because the last time I went there.
And what did they say?
What they
What
tell
did-
me? The case is closed.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, then,
Because
You guys didn't give me no answer. All you tell me it's a
okay,
bill.
okay.
Never
Mr.
has been
Hinton,
bill cost. That's all.
Mr. Hinton.
Did I get a letter? Nothing.
Mr. Hinton, we can only try to explain it to you. We'll schedule a time. This is a meeting right now. We'll schedule a time when
What
you
is
can
this
sit down.
meeting for, about the power rates, right?
No, this
No, it's
meeting
not.
is a meeting for the agenda that we've got to go through.
And we can only act on
And
the
we can
agenda.
only work on that agenda. We give public a chance to comment. We gave you that chance, that
Okay,
opportunity. Okay?
like I said, it needs to be investigated, but like I said.
You can do whatever you want.
We'll work with you.
We'll work with you, but,
It's not, it doesn't
okay.
matter.
So, get your number.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
You just want to see, stop.
Okay. Okay, now that we've done that, let's go back to our agenda.
Okay.
Try and get through this, because we all want to do
You gotta
something
go,
else. Okay, so,
I'm okay.
next item up.
Next resolution?
Yes, next resolution,
JB?
I'm sorry. John B?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. John K. Go through GPA resolution number FY 2024-21. And actually, this is a joint resolution also with GWA, resolution 21-FY 2024, for the award of the contract for merchant banking as a result of the bid. John?
Go ahead.
Thank you. This is, we went out for a bid for merchant services. We came out with two vendors, bid in, and the lowest bidder was with Bank of Hawaii. For the fees, there are practically no fees other than the one of the chargeback, which is like $5.95. Chargeback is when there's a dispute, let's say, it gets charged back. The rate they gave us is interchange fees plus a small transaction fees. The interchange fees for MasterCard is fixed, so it's like 75 cents for residential cards. For business is about $1.50, 50 cents fixed. Visa will be variable. I believe it's semi-annual or annually, based on what the days and type of cards they use. And the fees for the transaction fees, they're quoting 0.09%. So it'll be transaction times 0.0009%.
Okay, how does this compare with our existing contract?
It's very similar. It's just that they took out all the fees, and the transaction fee is about 0.01 point. So
Is the
Points.
relatively the same as?
yeah, it's relatively the same. It's a
Okay,
very small
that's
fraction
it.
cheaper than before.
Yes, okay. And this is both GPA and GWA?
Yeah,
right?
this is the same for both.
Okay, is the
Okay,
motion?
so, Mr. Chair, motion to approve FY 2024-21, as well as, let's see, is that, do you have the GWA?
Yeah,
one?
from the bottom.
As well as GWA resolution number 20-FY20
GWA
20
Resolution 21.
21
FY
21-FY 2024.
Right. Okay, is there a second to that
Second.
motion? Second. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next item, John, you're done, or?
To LEAC.
The LEAC, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you, Mr. Chair. The LEAC, of course, was
Mr. Hyman.
presented in the work session, and our recommendation is to hold the LEAC at its current price of 26.26119. Again, the oil prices have come down, but again, for the past several months, it's just been hanging around the numbers that we're using for the LEAC itself, which is, again, in the resolution, in the presentation you see, it was like 100, we're using 105, I believe, John? Stuff, so
Yes, 105 for the diesel.
the under recovery will go down from approximately 16 million expected at the end of February, am I correct, to about 2.9 million.
Over recovery or still
Under.
under? Over recovery.
Over recovery. Over
Okay.
recovery of
Yeah.
2.9.
Okay.
And again, because of uncertainty of fuel prices, it tends to be most likely may go up. We're kind of recommend we hold it. If in fact it goes down and we've recovered, then we can certainly file to reduce the rate before then.
But this-
Some improvements that will come in, of course, will be the temporary power GPWA now operating, that will help reduce some costs and fuel.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, a motion to approve GPA resolution number FY 2024-2020.
Second? Okay. Any questions? No.
No, but this will finally get us to, we had advanced as much as $47 million, yeah?
Correct.
This finally gets us by next February 1.
February 1.
That's
Hopefully.
Assuming other things hold steady, we'll finally have gotten, recovered all of that. And maybe plus 2 million, who knows, right?
Who knows?
And then, okay.
Okay.
That's, and I mean, that, depending on, again, what oil does, is we're running 26 cents to get, to over-recover what we had advanced. So if things stay relatively unchanged, then there may be an opportunity at the next LEAC to reduce, because right now we're recovering the money back, right?
The
So
under recovery from the past.
that we did not charge to ratepayers
Yeah.
before, right? And this really all happened, that 47, most of that was during the COVID period where
In 20
people were not
20
working. There was,
2020,
yeah,
2018,
there was the
2020.
hesitation to charge people that didn't have jobs. The whole world was in a funk. Luckily, because we're financially as strong as we have become, you could front 47 million. John, Joey, and me remember the days if you fronted 2 million, we fainted, right?
You have to come in, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
So any further questions? Are we ready for the question?
yes.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimous. The last one, John, is resolution 2024-23.
Yes, Mr.
This
Chair,
is-
again, this is relative to the refunding of our what year is that, 2014?
Yes, 2014 bond.
Once as ordered by the commission, we did go to the legislature, we did get the approval. GIDA has given the approval. The PUC most likely will approve this on Thursday. We need your approval, of course, of the standard clauses and everything, authorizing authorizing the issue, the refinancing of the bonds. So far, if we get all the approvals, then the rating agencies process will begin in the end of June, and most likely the refinancing will occur sometime mid-July.
Okay. Do you already move this? Do you see a
Not yet.
motion?
Mr. Chair, motion to approve GPA resolution number FY 2024-23.
Second? Second, Commissioner Martinez.
And if there are no further questions, ready for the further discussion? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimous. Okay, we're down into GWA.
On the GM report, Mr. Chair, just a couple of comments. Our highest demand, of course, this month has been 252, just as expected. We've been very good at, the team has been good, very good in keeping the power running, although we've had one big 2 base loads unit. The Agreco 24 units are on the island and being cleared custom, and will be over this week be taken up to Jigo and begin installation. So right now the contract, of course, is July 9, I believe, 9 or 10. They're trying to target.
That's tight.
They're targeting June 30 or so. So that's good news.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
Plug, but they have to hook up all the stuff and then test all the electrical, fuel, all the different things, but they're completing that.
And what about the other,
Yes, sir.
assistment to the plan to take a look at which ones we can fix?
They're doing some assessment now,
All right.
but we don't know. But once we get that recommendation, we determine how. And so we also have other plans that are coming on. So.
okay. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Trying to move along.
Thank you, JB.
Thank you, Jimmy. Tom, the GWA Resolution 19 FY 2024. Relative to indefinite quantity contract. IDQ.
Yeah, yes, your Chairman, for this particular resolution, at this time, we're asking to table this. There was a submission of a protest.
Okay, there's a protest?
Next.
Okay.
That's
Next.
out of our,
Yeah.
out of our area.
Next resolution, Chairman, Commissioners, Resolution 20 FY-2024 relative to authorizing Guam Water Authority to petition the PUC Commission for authorization to issue a request for proposal for comprehensive support services for applications and integration technologies utilized by GWA, GPA, Port Authority of Guam, and the GIAA. I'm going to hand it over to Chris.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and, motion to accept GWA Resolution 20 FY 2024.
Second.
Second? Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners. This resolution is to authorize GWA to lead a procurement on behalf of GWA, GPA, the port, and the airport to procure services for maintenance and support of our E1 system and all integrated systems included with that. As I mentioned in the work session, the port, GPA, and GWA all upgraded to the most recent version of J.D. Edwards Enterprise One, which has a extended life period of 2035. And so what we're seeking to do is to jointly procure these services to try to achieve economies of scale, and also to see how much we can save by joining together for these services. The contract itself will cover 5 different areas. One will be support and troubleshooting for the back-end services. One will be for application functional support for end users. The other will be for application development support. The other service will be for managing and negotiating software agreements and licensing on behalf of the utilities. And then the last item is implementation for software upgrades and replacement. I do want to add, earlier the discussion about the time and attendance system. So, this is a perfect vehicle to actually achieve that,
right,
because the time and attendance system has to be integrated with our Enterprise One, which handles all of our financial timekeeping and payroll.
So that can be part of this?
It absolutely could be.
Good.
And I would recommend that it is part of it, because we could possibly upgrade to a time and attendance system by October, but it would be really, really expensive.
Okay.
Our payroll system is complicated. We have a lot of special pay. We just went through a Department of Labor audit, and we see all these different rules and things that have to be followed. And if we're going to really do it correctly, we're going to need a little bit more time to actually get it done right, with all the special pay and then integrating it into the
Chris,
E1 system.
what we want is we want movement. We want to
Well,
get this done.
You know, being on the audit committee, both Commissioner Martinez and I are aware of the most recent audit, and actually having an automated data keeping system would have improved your response to that Department of Labor audit. Not having it made it extremely time exhaustive, right? You need a lot of resources to go look at manual paperwork to verify whether the times were right. So this is even more advantageous to both utilities to finally move to something that can be automated and controlled systematically, where you can determine whether if someone's working outside of their normal hours, you're already tracking it because they're timing in and timing out, and you don't need paper to go research it, right? So, yeah, it just proves the point.
Do it.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay, thank you for hearing that. Okay, do we have a motion on this one?
Yes.
Okay, and
Oh, just I did have a question though, and it slipped my mind after having to respond to that. Let me just give me 1 second. You said the end of life cycle for E1 is 2035. What is the plan? Is part of? Are you going to need to migrate to a new ERP?
It's too early to tell. I mean, Oracle generally puts an end of life on their software, but they usually extend it. So we've seen, like when we first migrated to E1, the end of life was 2030, and now it's 2035. So we expect that, you know, depending on what their product life cycle looks like on that particular product, they'll probably extend it further out. We won't really know, I think, until probably 2030 what the timeline looks like on the 2035 date.
So does this contract or solicitation, does it pave the way for you to begin looking at a migration to something that does not have as short of a end of life? Meaning you're going to spend the next 10 years on this contract implementing applications and software development for a system that is going to be considered redundant in 2030, or excuse me, end of life in 2035. So does this allow you to look at just migrating to a new system?
It does.
It does allow you the flexibility to do that?
The fifth option is implementation and software upgrades or replacement. So that would be covered under that section.
The last thing we want to do is spend 10 years developing something that we got to say, okay, we got to start all over with the new platform, right?
correct.
So that's just one of the things that I wanted to bring up. Okay.
We have a motion on this, second already, right?
Yes.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Nope. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We're on to the authorizing management.
Resolution 22?
Yeah.
We already did 21.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
21. I'm 22 FY 24. So, bank account.
Yes. Yes, Chairman, this resolution relative to authorization to establish a new bank account with Bank of Hawaii to deposit in-person debit and credit card payments received from GWA customers. We have Gilda here to help answer any questions.
Okay. Commissioner Santos?
Gilda, just for the record, Tulling reached out to me because one of the questions I had was on the interest-bearing account.
Yeah.
Tulling said she's working on it, so
Yes.
I'll save you the motion to accept GW Resolution number 22 FY 2024.
The second? Second, Commissioner Martinez. Okay. Any further discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimous. Last one, 23 FY 2024, relative to approval of year 4 and 5 task orders for the water loss control.
Correct.
We talked about this already.
Yes, we already talked about this during the work session.
Motion to accept GW Resolution number 23 FY 2024.
Second, Commissioner Sanchez?
Yeah, just to reiterate, I think in the working session, we talked about whether or not we've quantified based on being able to find the leaks and repair them. And, there was also discussion of whether or not, the pressure realignment also has something to do with
Right,
busting new pipes, right? And
we have Brett Riley here. He's the senior engineer supervisor for the water side. So WSO, Brett works closely with the consultant, not WSO, the E-Source. And he was able to, he's put something together. So I'd like for him to kind of maybe narrate his thoughts.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners. In response to your question.
Turn it on. Turn on the mic.
I think it is on.
Okay.
Is that better?
Go ahead.
In response to your question, we have seen in the zones that we've implemented the DMAs, we've had the leak detection crews go in and do sweeps, and we've been able to locate leaks, have those leaks fixed, and the data shows that we reduce the water loss in that zone. Matagwick is a good example of that because it's one of the earliest zones that we had instrumented, and then we can see the leaks or the loss rate almost immediately after we get done with the sweep and the repairs starting to creep up again. So you get a sawtooth pattern in the graph where it's creeping up. Next month it's a little higher, next month it's a little higher, until we send the leak crew back in. So we're playing whack-a-mole, and we don't think we're going to get out of this situation unless we get to the point where we're doing line replacement in some of the areas where we have these chronic problems. And the data that we're getting back from the water loss control project from the WSO team, most of our problem appears to be focused on the undersized lines. So that's where the bulk of the issue that we're seeing in these zones is on the 2-inch galvanized iron undersized lines that need to be replaced. And so we have a separate RFP that is currently going out for design. It's funded by the US EPA State Revolving Fund grant, and we're going to, in a phased approach over multiple years, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, so forth, work on designing the replacement of the 2-inch line until we get all of the 2-inch line, undersized line, out of our system. But that's going to take us time to get there.
What's the new size if it's not too
Okay.
Good question.
6.
We looked at some of the information you were asking for is included in the water loss control plan that was put together, and we did the calculation for what the industry considers the economic leak level. So you're never going to drive the leakage to zero. That's cost prohibitive to do. So most water systems look at what their water production cost is, how much chlorine are we using, how much manpower, how much electricity to run the pumps. And we come up with a calculation that you can use to determine what the economic leakage level is in your system, and that's what you want to try to target. And so we're significantly over what that economic point is, and we think we have about, I did the calculation, I sent it to Tom and Ann. I'm not sure if you've gotten that, but it was a little over $2 million for what we're exceeding on that. So we think we have at least $2 million of recoverable leakage in the system, but we don't think we're going to fix it without doing major line replacement.
So, Commissioner Santiago, I think if I recall your question, the rate of return from WSO, right? What are we seeing from that?
The question was basically geared toward, okay, we're spending X amount of dollars trying to address the problem. What is our long-term goal to recover that? What is our return on investment? And I think you're saying that that the opportunity goal is $2 million
per year.
Per year, right? So that's a number that I feel most commissioners would agree that justifies the cost for the contract. But we just need to know, how are we using the data? You've already explained that. So we're going from an undersized 2-inch line to, what's the size of the line?
We're going to do a 6-inch minimum,
6-inch,
and 8-inch depending on what is needed for for flow requirements, and then it could be larger, but most of the smaller 2-inch that we see is in residential areas, and it's going to either be a 6 or an 8.
And Brett, I think I talked to you once a long time ago. Part of the problem with 2-inch line is also you can't put fire hydrants in there.
That's correct. So as a part of the design work that we have that's being funded by US EPA to upsize the undersized line, we will be adding fire hydrants, air reliefs, valves, the other infrastructure that's needed.
Yeah. So that's part of the, you know, I mean, it's not just a payback, but it's an upgrade of service to the community, because the 6-inch line is what you need to put in. That will support a fire hydrant. Okay?
Right.
So-
Also, if one last thing, Commissioner Santiago, we used to, Brett and operations used to go through the water audit, the M36, right, Brett? And if you could just, I mean,
We're still doing that.
right,
annually.
we're still doing that, but with WSO, we've actually, the way I like to think it, we've really expanded the program comprehensively, right? I mean, we can pull the numbers from finance and the meters and throw it into M36, and it kicks out a number, it kicks out some kind of result. But I personally think with my team working with WSO, engineering working with WSO, you know, the operations and engineering are actually approaching the whole water loss. Maybe a little bit more, if I can say,
Targeted?
strategic
Yeah.
in
Okay.
nature. And so, I mean, you were probably wanting to, I mean, or hear a number, and hopefully Brett's $2 million a year. It's some kind, something.
Yep.
But it's almost like sometimes it's just what we're growing into with WSO is the value, I think.
Yeah, okay. Now, we passed all the resolutions, we've adopted all the resolutions.
Did we vote on this one? We need to vote on this one.
Okay.
The motion was already made.
Motion.
just gotta vote last.
Okay. All those in favor of the resolution is
23.
23-FY
FY
2024.
2024.
Right.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimous.
Okay.
Okay?
Would you guys like me to go over a little bit of the operations?
I think we're okay.
I think we're okay.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, second?
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We're adjourned.
Sorry, that's okay. I